The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 4 is over, but we're just getting started here on The Walking Dead Live on post-show recaps. And now, here are the two guys who are ready to, let's talk about Beth, baby. Let's talk about Beth. Yes, it's Rob Cesternino and Josh Wigler. Yes, Josh, how are you?
Rob, I'm good. Do you have a lollipop for me?
Yeah, well, I'll give it to you, but then you owe me.
Do we have to share it?
Yes. Yes. Oh,
Sour
my
apple?
God. All Beth, all the time, 24/7. No Rick, no Carl, no Michonne, no Daryl.
A little bit of Carol. Tiny bit of
Carol.
Carol.
Little Carol. A lot of Noah.
A lot of Noah.
A lot of Noah.
A lot of cop douche.
A lot of cop douche, and we will break it all down and try to piece together what exactly is going on in the hospital on The Walking Dead Live. Of course, we're live here on Sunday night, November 2nd, halfway through the first run of The Walking Dead Season 5.
It's all happening. Everything is happening right now.
Everything's happening right now. So much conflict between satellite providers and AMC. Josh, not to get too personal, but are you watching The Walking Dead on satellite?
I'm a Verizon Fios man, Rob.
Oh my God, it was so irritating that the whole episode flashing on the screen. It's like, you're at risk of losing The Walking Dead. Call this phone number right now and tell them not to take away your Walking Dead unless you want Walking Dead to be taken away from you. And then there was a counter rebuttal from DirecTV. It's like AMC's trying to make you think we're taking The Walking Dead away, but we're not. We're not taking it away from you. We have a contract with AMC, so The Walking Dead's not going anywhere. It was very distracting.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was really...
That sounds like the worst part about this season. I'm really glad that I don't have satellite.
Oh my God. Anyway, so yeah, let me know in the comments if you were seeing that as well. It was it was like flashing on the screen like a strobe light. It was really crazy.
That sounds brutal. Oh my God.
Yeah, so we got the chat room open on postshowrecaps.com. Also, we are monitoring your tweets on Twitter, hashtag PSRecaps, and of course on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. We're going to talk about everything, and then later on in the show, the whole second half of the show, we'll be taking your questions and trying to hear what you guys think about this episode tonight, plus where this is all going and what we expect to happen next. All right, Josh, were you expecting coming into tonight's episode for an all-Beth episode?
Yeah, I kind of thought so. The previews made it look like it was going to be a whole lot of Beth. I thought it would be all Beth plus some Daryl action, some Daryl and Carol. We got a little tiny bit of Carol right at the end. So I was surprised that we didn't see any more on Daryl and Carol following the car that ultimately obviously is going to lead at least Carol to where Beth is. So I was a little surprised about that, but I'm not surprised at all that it was a heavy Beth hour. That's definitely what they were hyping up.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a heavy Beth hour, and then I thought we were going to get to a point where we sort of completed the circle from last week, where at least we got the resolution of Daryl saying, "Oh, look who I found," in that scene with Rick, and I thought we were going to at least see the point when Daryl and Carol got to the point where they went to go look for Beth. I thought we were going to see that. So I felt a little disappointed in that we seemed like we did not move the ball very forward this week.
Right, yeah. It was a lot of answering the mystery of what happened to Beth, where is Beth, but not really moving that up in terms of the timeline of where things are on the show in the Rick storyline. So I see where you'd be a little down on that for sure.
Yeah, I thought this was probably the slowest episode that we've had over the 4 in Season 5.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, well, that's just because the first 3 of Season 5 have been so wicked fast. They've been crazy. And this was definitely a change of pace. It's a change of scenery. It's a change of characters. Everything about it is obviously very different. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. You know, I was a big fan of those 2 Governor episodes back in the first half of Season 4. So I don't mind when Walking Dead wanders around a little bit. It definitely, you know, the momentum of the first 3 episodes of Season 5, I think, may have been impacted by tonight's episode, but we needed to find out what's going on with Beth. I think what's going on with Beth is fairly interesting. I'm hoping that it all ties together sooner rather than later. As long as that is the case, then I'm okay with tonight's episode for sure.
Yeah, and I really dug at least the first episode that they did with the governor. But I felt like the governor was the kind of character where he was the villain of the show, and I didn't mind spending the time investing in his backstory. Do you think that Beth is a character that can carry a whole episode by herself?
Yeah, because I thought this was a pretty good episode. And also, what I would say is, back in the day, would you have said Carol is the kind of person that could carry her own episode? And then her and Tyrese are front and center in The Grove. And Carol is proven to be one of the stronger characters on the show. And then she's, very much the action hero of the season premiere in season 5. So I think that's one of the things that this show actually does do pretty well is they take these characters who maybe seem, sort of secondary on first glance, and they can kind of elevate them to leading character status. And I think that they did a pretty good job with that with Beth tonight. I definitely wanted to see a little more of what's going on with Rick and even the Abraham group tonight, but I was really interested in everything Beth was up to tonight.
Okay, so I'm going to look at it through your perspective that we're elevating Beth right now.
I think we're trying to make a big deal out of Beth. I think we're trying to give Beth the Carol treatment.
Okay, giving Beth the Carol treatment. All right, so we'll look at it under through that lens. Anyway, so Carol comes into the scene at the end of the episode, Josh, and Carol is on a gurney. What happened to Carol? How did she end up in that position from where her and Daryl were going to go chase down one of these cars?
So are we going to get a Daryl Carol episode that just leads to Carol getting captured? Is that where we're going? Is there going to be another kind of one-off episode with just Daryl and Carol?
Here's the thing. That's what I'm concerned about, and I'm also concerned that's not going to be the next episode.
Well, yeah. We don't have to get into what was in the previews. I did watch the preview for next week's episode, so
without specifically getting into the previews and what happened, it looks like that next week's episode is going to be all the Abraham crew.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that it's going to take a little while. That's a legitimate concern, Rob, because I think that the show has been really great because for the most part, the band is 95% back together, other than Beth. Beth is the one who was gone, and now we've got this Beth storyline that we need to be spending episodes on, and we've got the Abraham group that's away from Rick. So now we have 3 major storylines that are kind of separated. And I was really pretty pumped to have as many of these guys back together as possible. And I hope that we're not separate for too long. This is something you and I talked about a little bit last week. Is that the direction that Walking Dead is moving in for season 5? That worries me a little bit just because I think having everybody back together has been so good for the show.
Yeah, no, it got off to such a great start this season, and we were all really loving the first 3 episodes where everybody was back together. But then we came out and had the Just Beth episode. So let's talk about the Beth-isode from tonight. And so how did Carol, and do you think that Carol is seriously hurt? Is she playing possum?
Yeah,
she's going to stand up?
I think that's a fun theory that Carol, I'm always on Mole Patrol, Rob. What if Carol is infiltrating this group? That would be pretty sweet.
But how would they know to do that? Like, how would Carol know that Beth is in a hospital and that she needs to act like she's been hurt and then she's going to, stand up and then break Beth out of this thing?
Well, do we know how much time has passed between Beth's escape attempt and the end of the episode? Is it hours? Is it days? Who knows? I don't know if we have a clear answer on that.
The timeline is definitely screwy because how much time would you say passed between going back to season 4 when Beth was taken away from Daryl through the episodes from last week?
I would give it, 5 days to 7 days, about a week. It seemed like this episode covered. That seems fair, I think.
All right, so that she's only been gone a week, and you feel like that's in line with Daryl, with Beth disappearing, Daryl doing the whole thing. He went through the whole thing with the claimed guys, right, and then to Terminus, and then escaping from Terminus, and then all of the stuff from last week. You think it's only been 5 to 7 days?
I'd give it at most 2 weeks, but I think even 2 weeks is probably pushing it.
Oh my God.
But it's been a little while, and I guess what I'm driving at is how long has it been since Noah escaped and Carol shows up in the hospital? Did Daryl and Carol intercept this Noah guy? Did he tell them what's going on there? And now Carol is saying, "All right, gotta go in there."
Yeah, and that's a fair point. We don't exactly know, and so
Carol doesn't strike me as the type of person who gets caught.
yeah.
Carol can take care of herself these days.
So, do you think that it could be that Noah ended up finding the group, and then they end up coming up with this plan and sending Carol into the prison?
I could see it.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Noah feels some sense of obligation to Beth, and if he runs into Daryl and Carol, he tells them what he knows. He tells them how he escaped. Daryl and Carol find this way into the hospital. I could see that happening.
Let's talk about the doctor, Josh. Now, did you get the doctor's name?
Yeah, I do have the doctor's name. I think it's Dr. Stephen Edwards is his name.
Dr. Steve. Okay. Dr. Steve, good guy or bad guy?
Shades of gray, Rob. It seems like a nice enough guy, but then again, he kills another doctor for job security.
Okay.
Kind of a dick move.
Now, I feel like there was a subtext to a lot of what was going on in the hospital. And I just want to make sure I'm reading in between the lines correctly. The whole you owe us thing. Are the people that work in the hospital, the wards as they were called, are they the sex slaves of the police officers?
It certainly seemed that way, at least to a degree. Maybe not all of them, but the one-handed woman was definitely being abused by cop douche, as we've been seeing him called on Twitter tonight.
Cop douche.
I think cop douche was definitely abusing his power in that way, and certainly that's what he wanted to do with Beth right before he got his throat ripped out.
And so it was my understanding that the doctor claimed Beth. Is that fair to say?
Do you think that he is like Joe the Claimer's brother? He knows the claimed rules?
Well, it seemed like that was what they were doing with Beth, and that she was going to belong to the doctor.
She was going to belong to the doctor.
That was my interpretation, because there was a point where I want to make sure I have the female cop was Dawn.
Dawn.
When she got mad at the cop, she slapped Beth in the face. It's sort of like, hey, so this is your girlfriend now. I'm going to make her have a black eye.
I didn't understand why she kept hitting Beth. I thought that was terrible.
I think that was maybe because that was he was her claim, and maybe that she was going to be less beautiful now. And then also there was a scene.
So she beats up Beth rather than beating up the doctor because Beth is the doctor's property?
Yes.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's tough stuff.
My God.
And then there was also a scene where the doctor and cop douche were having a confrontation, and cop douche said, "I want to make sure I have find the piece of dialogue." But basically, he was saying that she doesn't belong to you, and they were sort of like, it seemed like they were arguing over Beth.
Who does Beth belong to? That's the big debate. Beth belongs to no one, Rob. Beth is a free woman.
Yes. She belonged to Daryl.
Is that right?
That's what I thought.
I think that's what a lot of fans are hoping. I don't know if it's necessarily true.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely a weird situation. This is not the greatest bartering system going on in this hospital. It's called Graydon, I believe, right? Graydon is the name of the hospital. Graydon Memorial.
Yeah, I didn't catch the name of the
Graydon
hospital. Yeah, so there was the one scene then where it was a little bit, I think, of a metaphor when Cop Douche tried to insert his lollipop into Beth's mouth.
That was really gross. I think that was the grossest thing that's ever happened on Walking Dead, is like Cop Douche just like chewing on a lollipop and then making Beth eat the lollipop.
Yeah.
That's really gross. That's
sour apple.
That's some bad germs.
And so
I'm a sour apple fan, and that sour apple lollipop has soured sour apple for me for a long time.
So then when the doctor comes in, that's when you got that confrontation between Cop Douche and the doctor, and the cop says, "Hey, that girl should have been mine," as opposed to why isn't she his? Is she the doctor's?
Right. Yeah, because he's the Cop Douche is the guy who quote unquote rescued Beth. He's the guy that found her.
Yeah. And the doctor said back, "Nobody is yours, and if you think you should get you should get Joan back. And then, so they were sort of talking about bringing it back to Joan.
Yeah. Oh man. It's pretty terrible in this hospital. This is not a good place.
So Noah, is he in the
Yes.
sex trade?
I don't know. He doesn't seem to like it there. They all talk about how he was talking about how they view him as weak. I don't know. I didn't necessarily get. Is he Don's sex slave, Officer Don's sex slave?
Oh,
What do
well,
you think
that
of
doesn't sound that bad.
It could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. What's your take on Officer Dawn?
Don't like her.
Don't
Not a
like
fan.
her.
Not a fan of Officer Dawn. I don't like how she's smacking my girl Beth around.
Yeah.
She's got a short fuse, this one. And I don't know that if I'm buying her company line of, oh, we're keeping things going here and we're staying alive and we're staying ready for when people come and rescue us. That just sounds a little naive, to be honest.
But in this world, like where we've seen people like the governor, and like if she doesn't seem like she's that bad, and she seems like she's got this hospital going. Like I felt like Beth really was like, oh my God, this is amazing what you've set up here. There's electricity, there's food, there's this. Like
Apparently there's rape though. That's
well,
kind of a drawback.
it's a drawback. It certainly is a drawback. But compared to some of these other places that they've been, I mean, remember when Beth and Daryl were out walking on the streets and they were hiding in the trunk of a car when zombies were trying to get them? You would think that this hospital setup is definitely a better deal than some of these things that she's had before, right?
Well, she got drunk on the road. That was pretty fun. And she got to burn a house down. I think that she was having a pretty fun time until she got kidnapped.
Yeah.
She was actually kind of living the dream. She's running around in the apocalypse with this beautiful, dirty man with a crossbow and getting drunk with him, and they're basically the Adam and Eve of this new world. That sounds pretty good.
No, that sounds good, but I'm just saying that compared to like even the prison, like the hospital is not bad.
No, it's not bad. Aside from the rape thing.
Aside from the rape thing.
That's a big thing, though.
Yes.
And Officer Dawn is completely looking the other way on that stuff too. She's and not even so much as she's looking the other way. She's giving it the green light. She's good with it. As long as it keeps her officers happy and content and keeps them working hard, she's good with the systemic rape, which is not good. That's not okay. So
not
I think
okay. We are staunch anti-rape position people.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on, not good, not great. So I think that is enough of a drawback to keep the hospital pretty low on the list of these safe havens that we've seen.
Now, what did you think of this escape plan that Beth and Noah came up with?
It seemed kind of shaky. Didn't seem totally thought through. I mean, it was pretty sweet when Beth was just, running around and like stomping on zombie heads. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool, but I think they tried to make it seem like oh, there's no way out of the hospital. Like Beth said to the doctor, like, why don't you leave? And he like brought her down to the first floor, and and she's like, why are you showing me this? He's like, well, you wanted to know why I don't leave. Yet the police go out and go on runs every day.
Right. Well, I think that the doctor is not, he's not a tough guy like the cops. The cops are tough enough to handle these walkers, but I think that the deal with Graydon, with this hospital, the Graydon community, I think the deal is that you've got a lot of strong people in positions of power, and then you've got guys like the doctor, and you've got the wards who are kind of weaklings who are scared to go out and face these walkers. So I think a guy like Dr. Steve's like, hell no, man, I'm staying in the hospital. I'm never leaving.
Okay, but Beth clearly isn't, scared of facing
well, no,
the walkers.
Beth's been on the road. Beth's a badass.
Yes,
she was hanging out with Rick Grimes. These cops, they're screwing with the wrong person.
So why couldn't they escape the same way that the police are getting out of the hospital to go on their runs all the time?
I don't know. Is there like security or something in place? Probably.
Maybe they need to sneak out the back way, because this elevator shaft thing seemed like a really crazy plan.
Scary, yeah. Almost did not work out so well for poor Noah.
Yeah, very, very scary.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
Yeah. I thought that drop down was going to be further, too, from, when we first saw it and then, dumping the bodies out. It seemed like that was, really, really far down.
What do you think? Were you surprised that Noah survived? Did you think that he was going to die?
Yeah, I thought Noah was definitely dead.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I was definitely surprised.
That was like the big shock of the night that guy lived.
Yeah. All right. So we also had a really interesting thing that ended up happening where there was a little bit of a confusion where Beth was administering the drugs to the guy that they brought in, and then we find out later that was a second doctor. What did you think of that twist?
Oh man, yeah, this guy, Dr. Steve, really likes his job. He doesn't want anyone moving in on his turf.
Job security.
Job security, absolutely. Yeah, he just straight up had Beth kill this guy. Beth just totally kills this guy on the doctor's orders. That was wild. I don't know. That's definitely something that gives you pause when you're saying, is Dr. Steve a good guy or a bad guy? Shades of Grey is really the name of the game with all these characters, I think.
Now, does Beth have any sort of training in being any sort of nurse or assistant nurse or physician?
Well, her dad was a vet. You know, he was an animal doctor, not a.
It seems kind of crazy that, like, here's Beth that they just found on the street, and then they're like, oh yeah, go inject that guy with 75 cc's of
I know that does seem like a tall order. Like, if I was in the zombie apocalypse and these people scooped me up and they put me to work and that was my job, lots of people would be getting the wrong medicine. I could promise you that. I would probably just be giving everybody sour apple lollipops instead of the right medicine.
Yeah, I mean, Beth is like, okay, she's like going in there and like smashing stuff up and like injecting like a syringe, so she was ready to go.
She was ready to go. She was.
Yeah. What do you think about the food situation at the hospital?
What were they eating? Guinea pigs?
Guinea pig.
It could be worse.
Yeah. I think
the food situation, Rob, not as good at the hospital as it was at the prison. They were having barbecues at the prison.
They were
actual like deer and pig and stuff like that.
Yes, but this was still pretty good. I was impressed with what they have going on at the hospital. Aside from the rape.
Yeah, aside from that, you would have eaten the guinea pig?
Yeah, I think so. I think I would have. If it's good enough for Peru, it's good enough for me.
I guess that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was so popular in Peru. I haven't been.
Now, do you feel like the doctor was going to eventually try to force himself, or will eventually try to force himself on Beth, or is he trying to be a gentleman about this whole thing?
I think that I feel like we would have gotten a little bit. As I'm saying this, I'm realizing this guy basically had Beth kill another man, so he definitely has some edge to him. I was going to say that I think we would have seen a little bit more of that kind of darkness in him tonight if that was something he was planning for Beth. He certainly has enough darkness in him to kill another man, so I wouldn't take it off the table, but that doesn't seem to be where this storyline is going. I could see this guy... I could see this guy getting out of this hospital and becoming part of our group. We could use a doctor.
We could use a doctor, especially now that Herschel is gone. And who is the doctor that was just like in the mix in season 4?
What was his name? Dr. S?
Yeah, something like that.
Dr. S, yeah. Dr. S was very short-lived.
Yeah, because Dr. Steve, he definitely seemed like he was trying to like impress Beth with like bringing her to his office and be like, you see that painting over there? You can see that?
Good glasses, that guy.
Yeah, trying to talk about like he's so worldly. I felt like he was definitely trying to put the moves on Beth.
Laying down the Mac.
Yes, he was trying for it, but I don't think Beth was too impressed.
I don't think so either. I think Beth is she's preoccupied. I don't think she's really thinking showmance right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, she has to work.
Would you be down with Dr. Steve joining the cast? Coming in on this thing full time?
So, okay, Dr. Steve or Noah, who would you more like to see join the group?
I don't know. If Noah brought all those lollipops with him, I think I'm good with Noah.
Yeah, where do all the lollipops come from?
I don't know. They're in a hospital. Isn't that what doctors do? They always give you lollipops, right?
Is that what goes on? And then there were so many on Dawn's desk.
Are lollipops like Twinkies? They never go bad?
Well, I guess so. I mean, I don't think you can have a lollipop go bad.
Could you survive on nothing but lollipops?
I don't think so.
That's not enough nutritional value.
Probably not.
Diet of guinea pigs and lollipops?
Yeah, Beth really did not want that lollipop too. Like after she had, like you would think like you've been in The Walking Dead for like 3 years. I feel like
she was saving it. She was hiding it under her bed, and then the cop found the lollipop, and now she doesn't want it. Of course not.
What's
That's
he
gross.
doing? He like goes underneath and looks under everybody's beds for lollipops.
Yeah, man, he's cop douche. That's what cop douche does.
I guess so. That's really douchey.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Why is Dawn so obsessed with laundry?
She likes to keep things clean. Listen, she wants to keep society moving as close to the old world as possible so that when they get rescued, everybody can just go back to business as usual. Laundry's a big part of that, Rob.
But isn't that a big waste of resources to constantly be doing laundry and ironing?
Yeah, they should probably be worried about other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, they're keeping everybody in, the police are, like, her police force. Like, I'm a little unsure about what their mission is that they're trying to do. It seems like they just, like, keep, like, going out and getting people and bringing them back so that they could then bring them in.
They want all the manpower they can get.
Yeah. For what? Just for the hospital or for the sex trade?
I think probably they go hand in hand at this place, I think.
Yeah. So will they rescue a man? Like, they brought back the doctor. Did they know he was a doctor?
Well, why was Dawn so emphatic about? I guess she knew that he was a doctor. So she knew he was a doctor, and that's why she really wanted them to save this guy. And that's why Dr. Steve wanted the oncologist dead, because he knew that he was being eyed to be replaced. I think that they're looking for anybody of value here. I don't think that it's just a sex trade going on here.
Do you see Dawn stepping up as a major villain here in season 5? Will we see a Dawn versus Rick confrontation?
It'd be interesting. They're both cops. They're both law enforcement people.
Do they know each other?
I don't know if they know each other. I mean, it's possible. You never know. That would be an interesting little development if, Rick kind of had to confront somebody from his old life in this new world. I think that could actually be pretty cool. I would be up for that.
Although her uniform, it seems quite different from what Rick's original uniform was.
Right. She seems like she was higher ranking than Rick was.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No.
When Beth is going through the filing cabinet, she finds a license? What was it that she found in the filing cabinet?
I don't know. I was confused about that. The scene pretty quickly escalated from there. So that I think that kind of went over my head.
Yeah. I was looking at what the back of the card was. It was some sort of like ID, and it was about something about the hospital. But they never showed us from the front what she was looking at.
That's why we have DVR, Rob. We'll rewind. We'll examine that.
We'll go back and we'll look at it. So it was in that scene when she's looking for the key. Here comes Cop Douche.
Oh God, yeah. And this guy is he's feeling a little handsy.
Yeah, feeling a little handsy.
A little frisky.
Now I thought this was kind of ballsy on his part, where he's like, "Hey, I got a deal for you. How about I don't let Dawn know about this? We get a little win-win action. So I won't tell Dawn." But then he's gonna go ahead and proceed with his business in Dawn's office. Like, I feel like Dawn is not gonna care for that.
Dawn's not gonna care for it, but it seemed like Cop Douche was making a play at the throne. He seemed he seemed like he wanted to be in charge. That's something that he was saying to Dr. Steve. Is like, maybe someday someone's gonna be in charge of here who doesn't need you anymore. So,
is having sex in Dawn's office the way to accomplish that?
Power move.
That is a power move. That is sort of like, I own this room, but still.
Claimed.
Yes. I guess. I mean, what power does, like, if there was going to be the other cops wanted to overthrow Dawn? I mean, why do they listen to her?
Well, I think if the alternative is Cop Douche, maybe these other cops don't like Cop Douche that much. That guy sucked.
That's possible.
He was horrible. So maybe they have no better runner-up. There's no other candidate right now who's better than Officer Dawn.
Yeah. I thought Beth was pretty nonchalant about finding the body of Joan on the floor.
She's seen some bodies. Listen, she saw her dad get his head chopped off with a samurai sword. I think she's pretty good at this point.
Yeah. So she just looked down. She's like, But she didn't even seem that concerned about that she was turning. Like she don't like really like.
That was a little ridiculous. Like she was standing right next to the body while she was looking for the key. And the head of this one-armed woman who was clearly on the way to becoming a zombie could have just like taken a big bite out of her ankle at any moment.
Yeah, she didn't seem too concerned about that. But then, luckily, right when Cop Douche was trying to, put the moves on her, she hit him over the head with the lollipops.
Oh my God, irony.
Yes, yes. So that was pretty good.
That was great. Pour one out. Pour one bucket of lollipops out for Cop Douche. Gone too soon.
Gone too soon. Power rankings: Cop Douche or Cabin Douche?
Ooh, I think I prefer Cabin Douche.
Yeah, Cabin Douche was better. Cop Douche, Cop Douche wasn't as interesting to me as Cabin Douche was.
They both like their sweets, Cabin Douche likes to chew gum. Cop Douche likes lollipops. They both like to talk a lot.
Yeah.
I thought I like Cabin Douche. I prefer Cabin Douche, but I would listen to Cabin Douche and Cop Douche's radio show. I would listen to their podcast. Would be pretty good.
Yeah. How would that go?
I don't know. I don't think that we can talk. The subject matter would be dark.
Yeah, you want to be Cop Douche or Cabin Douche?
Oh, I don't want to be either of these guys right now. Just to be honest with you, I don't think I want to be either of them. I would rather be Cabin Douche because I think Cop Douche is going to say some dicey things.
Douche and douche in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
The
douche.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are there any ladies out there? Call in. Come. We want to hear from you on the Douche and the Douche.
You get a lollipop for the 10th caller.
Yeah. Okay. I thought there was another really interesting scene that happened in between Dawn and Beth, where Dawn really calls Beth out as being somebody who can't hack it in this zombie world.
If only she knew, man. Beth's been part of one of the baddest squads still out there. She's part of the Rick Grimes family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't underestimate Beth.
Dawn says they wasted resources on Beth, and she's not part of the greater good.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy insult.
Yeah. And so she says that, to Beth, out there, you are nothing except for that you'll be dead. And Beth says, that's BS. And then I like this, that Dawn grabbed Beth's wrist and showed us where Beth tried to commit suicide all the way back in season 2.
Right, yeah. Call back to season 2.
I like that.
I thought we were trying to forget about season 2.
I thought we were trying to forget about season 2 with that also, but I do like that when we talk about things that happen and don't just forget about them. Like there's consequences.
No, that was cool. I like that. That was a good call back to Beth before she was the Beth that we know today. So she's looking at this as a sign of major weakness on Beth, and Beth was going through a hard time at the time, to be fair. But Beth has come a long way since then. So This Officer Dawn should not be underestimating Beth. If she's looking at this as a sign that Beth is a super weak person, Dawn's got another thing coming for her.
Okay. I want to go ahead and open this up to your questions. All right, our phone lines are open. Our number is 1-888-2-DOUCHE. That's 1-888-2-DOUCHE. Get your calls in. Or douche and douche in the morning.
2 douches, 1 lollipop.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a pretty gross viral video. You don't want to watch that one.
Okay. Josh, are you ready to take some questions?
Yes, let's do it. We got a question in from Jason Burning who says, do we know the name of the hospital that Rick woke up in the series premiere? If so, was it the same one as Beth?
That's a good question.
I don't know if we know the name of the hospital that Rick woke up in, but that hospital seemed like it was really, really run down and out of commission from the top to the bottom. So I have to imagine this was a different place. And also that the hospital that Rick wakes up in isn't in, the thick of Atlanta, I don't think, right?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and
we go on, a big horseback road trip to Atlanta. So I don't think it's the same place.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see. But I was thinking the same thing.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I think that the way that they opened this episode, they were kind of really intentionally calling back to the series premiere. So that was kind of neat.
Okay. Here's a question from Carlos V. How screwed is the hospital group now that Carol Badass has arrived?
Oh my God, yeah, they're all they're all in deep, deep trouble.
They're very
Uh,
screwed.
oh yeah, hugely screwed. You don't want if you're on the wrong side of Carol, you're in big trouble. It's not
What
good.
was Beth going to go do with the scissors before she saw Carol? Was she going to go kill the doctor?
Oh man, maybe. Is she not a fan of Dr. Steve?
Well, I thought that where they were going was
Dr. Douche?
that Beth said, okay, well, this hospital only exists because there's a doctor. If I kill Dr. Steve, then there will be no reason for there to be a hospital anymore, and they'll have to just let everybody go.
Oh man, that sounds like a bad plan.
That sounds like a bad plan, but I thought that's what she was going to go do.
That seems like a bad plan. I don't know. I don't approve of that plan.
Yeah, let me know in the chat what you guys think Beth was going to go do.
All right, we've got a question in from Michael who asks, given that he escaped the hospital, I think Noah is the person with Daryl at the end of last week's episode. What do you guys think? Rob, what do you think? Do you think Noah's with Daryl?
It makes a lot of sense. It really does.
Why do you let Noah survive if he's not going to run into our group?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it makes a lot of sense. But the way that Daryl, I'd have to go back and look at this, but it seemed like Daryl was like almost like presenting this person to Rick like it was somebody he knew.
Right, yeah. But I mean, who knows? This storyline is not over, and it still could end with Daryl presenting Carol and Beth and Noah and Dr. Steve and more cop douches. He could be bringing a big group of people to Rick when we see Daryl again.
Or a big box of lollipops.
That would also be great. Yeah, he's just come on out, and it's just like a clown holding a bunch of lollipops. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Okay. Thomas Tumillo.
Thomas Tamillo asks us, the picture on the desk was to Beth's left. If the woman picked it up and hit Beth while Beth turned her head to the right in anticipation, the gash should be on the left side of her face.
Thomas, we don't talk about this sort of stuff.
Continuity errors. All right, we've got a question in from...
You just got to roll with the punches, Thomas.
We got a question in from Brittany Scott. Let's move on from the continuity errors. Brittany writes in and asks, so we now know that Daryl is not with Carol or Beth, so could it possibly be Noah that he's going to bring out of the woods? Yeah, so we've talked about this. How do you think Noah would adjust to being with the group? Well, what about that? How do you think Noah would fit in with this group that we've come to know and love on The Walking Dead? Do you think that Noah would get along with Rick Grimes?
So Sasha's single again, right?
Sasha's single.
Okay, maybe.
Sasha's single.
I'm shipping it.
You're shipping it.
I'm shipping it.
Nasha.
Sure.
Noasha.
Why not? So I think he'll be fine. He seems like a nice guy.
Seems like a nice enough guy.
Yeah.
Underestimated.
Yes. That being said, though, if he is a gimpy leg guy, I don't know if we need another one of those.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think, rest in peace, Bob, but we didn't need like another one-legged guy in the group. So a gimpy-legged guy. I mean, that's better than a one-legged guy, but it's still not great.
Yeah. Okay. The great Cabin Douche is back. Cabin Douche wants to know, talking about, I don't know which part this is. Did anyone else think Star Wars trash compactor?
Oh, man. Probably the elevator scene.
When they were in the elevator? Yeah.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. That was kind of crazy. I feel like that was directed oddly, that whole sequence.
You didn't like the elevator sequence?
I thought it was the elevator sequence and then outside. It just seemed like they were like playing a lot with like effects and like slow motion.
Well, I don't know why they were like really emphasizing the blinding light of day. It's not like they haven't seen daylight in this place. They've got windows. They have rooftop access to a garden. It's not like they haven't seen daylight ever.
I mean, I guess that it was dark where they were, and then it was bright when they opened it. But then when they went slow motion, it was just like, it just seems like it was kind of just like that. It was like trying to make that into more of an epic thing than it was.
That being said, thumbs up for slow motion, soundless Beth stomping on zombie heads. I look forward to seeing that GIF tomorrow morning.
Good. All right, let's take another question. Sure. Devin Grove wants to know, how likely is it that we get a Carol-like transformation from Beth and she becomes a complete badass by the end of the season? Or do you think they're just building her up for a meaningful death?
Oh.
Does it have to be one or the other?
It could be both. There's no reason it can't be both.
Could it be neither?
Well, I think that they've been trying to build Beth up as a bit of a badass for a little bit of time now. When she was on the road with Daryl, she was not bad with the crossbow. So maybe they're trying to build her up a little bit. I think that could be nice. Are they going to kill her off as well? Again, it can be both. I see no reason why it couldn't be. Do you like Beth enough for her to be Carol levels of badass, or would you rather them being building her up for some sort of sacrifice death, Rob? What would you prefer? Beth on the show as a badass or dead Beth?
I don't think that Beth is going to die, but she cannot be as bad of an ass as Carol.
Carol's like your new favorite character.
Carol is my favorite character. Look, I'm not stubborn.
You've grown so much, Rob.
Yes, I've turned around 100% on Carol.
Yeah, she's the best. We've got a question in from Jason Rightmaker. This is something we definitely should talk about. Was this an episode where they tested the waters for a public reaction to a spin-off show? Rob, what do you think of that? Did this episode seem like a backdoor pilot for the Walking Dead spin-off?
No, I don't think so. I wasn't thinking that. They know Walking Dead spin-off is going to work. They've done it with the governor. They've done it like one-off episodes about like a lot of different things away from the group. So I think they know it'll work. They don't need to do a backdoor pilot for this.
I would watch the Walking Dead Lollipop spin-off. That would be Lollipop Hospital, Candy Hospital.
The thing is, there won't be anybody from this Walking Dead in the next Walking Dead spin-off.
That's probably true.
Like, it's just going to be Walking Dead, like, somewhere, like, on the West Coast.
Yeah, Walking Dead, Oregon.
Yeah, so it'll be Oregon Trail Walking Dead.
I would watch that. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Uh-oh, somebody's got dysentery.
Oh, dysentery in the apocalypse is no good.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you got? It's from Stephen Hooker.
Yes, from Stephen Hooker. Having hope that people are coming to save you or things will go back to normal equals delusional, insane thinking. Do you agree? Do you think that this was delusional on Officer Dawn's part, Rob, that she thinks that everything's going to go back to normal, or do you think that that's just her trying to be optimistic?
I think so. I think that it was probably delusional, but it does seem like it fits in with a theme this season where there seems to be a lot of talk of people talking about, like, well, when things go back to normal. Like, and I don't really recall that too much earlier in Walking Dead.
Yeah, they're starting to talk. Well, that's definitely a theme this season. Can the nightmare end? You know, some people seem to think the nightmare is going to end. And then there are other people who think that this is it. This is the world we live in now. So that's definitely, it's emerging as the big theme of Season 5. And I think tonight was another example of how that kind of question is being tested on the show right now.
Josh, did you see this week that there was a little bit of controversy that some people are starting to say that maybe is Walking Dead a dream after there was a lot of speculation about this is a nightmare, nightmares end. Could this be a dream and Rick wakes up in the hospital?
If The Walking Dead is a dream and it ends with Rick waking up in the hospital, this will officially be the worst TV show of all time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure exactly who it was. I think it was it Robert Kirkman? I think he came out and said that.
Yeah, Kirkman's like, no, this is not a dream. This is not.
This is not a dream. The Walking Dead. It's purgatory, but it's not. Purgatory. It's not a dream.
It's everything that's happening is actually happening, but there is going to be an afterlife that we will spend way too much time on in the final season of The Walking Dead. And it will end with everybody in a church being bathed in bright lights of lollipops.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joel Avery has a question. Do you think that Rick's group will now have to go to the hospital to rescue Carol and Beth? Well, what's your official take on Carol? Is Carol in need of rescuing, or is she the rescuer?
I think Carol's always the rescuer. I don't think I'm not that worried about Carol. I hope that Carol is gonna just be able to kind of one-woman army this thing and get Beth out of there and get us back on track, because we've got people going to Washington D.C. We've got Rick still at the church, and now we've got Carol with Beth back in Atlanta. I don't want, Rick getting distracted with an Atlanta side trip. I want him going to Washington D.C. I want him getting back together with Abraham. So I just want Carol to take care of this thing, rejoin her group, and just go to DC. Let's get through this hospital pretty quick.
Okay. Spicy Wasabi wants to say, should the hospital people be more afraid of Carol or Rick?
Oh man, I don't know who I'm more afraid of. Rick has bitten somebody's throat out with his teeth. Mm-hmm. That's pretty scary. But Carol basically Sarah Connored an entire civilization. She just terminated everybody at Terminus. So they're both pretty badass. And she's killed kids.
Yes. Carol.
Rick has killed zombie kids. It's close.
Carol's a tough customer.
It's close. It's close.
Do you think, is this Carol's MO, though, to sneak into the hospital like this?
She's good at like the incognito thing. That was the whole deal with Terminus. She just kind of like snuck in there. No one saw her coming, so I could see it.
Okay.
Tear them down from the inside. It's a good tactic.
Let's take a few more questions. Faraz Tahir says, why would people assume that Rick and Dawn know each other just because they're both cops? They're different. Rick's sheriff deputy and Dawn is just normal police. Well, I don't think we assumed that they knew each other. We just asked the question, could they potentially know each other?
Yeah, I think it would be cool. Maybe they've met at the cop conference, right?
Yeah.
CopCon Atlanta.
CopCon. Yes.
Yeah. The biggest convention in Atlanta.
Jason has another question. He wants to know, I wonder if Morgan is the kid's uncle. The kid almost resembles Morgan's son, if I remember right. Okay. Noah said he is looking for his uncle from Richmond. Is it possible that Morgan is Noah's uncle?
Oh, man. Well, we know that Morgan's out there. The show would not have revealed Morgan being out there in the season premiere if we weren't going to do something big with Morgan. Could they tie Noah into Morgan? I guess they could. That would seem a little convenient for me. And there's a lot of convenient things that happen on this show already. That would be a little too convenient for me. It's not impossible, but I'm not counting on it either.
Do we see Morgan before the half-season finale?
I hope so. Not necessarily. Maybe they'll show him like in another one of those like after episode scenes as some sort of post-credit scene in the mid-season finale. But hopefully they don't stretch that out too long. I need my Morgan fix, man. Got to get Morgan back.
Carlos wants to know, how far is Rick's group? Wants to say the hospital is in Atlanta, but Rick's group has been moving away from Atlanta for a year now. Are the cops taking road trips far north towards D.C.?
Yeah, what's the deal with that? So I guess Rick's group just has not gotten that far. They've just been walking in circles near Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where they are.
I was kind of surprised that the show went back to Atlanta, to be honest with you. I kind of thought we were done with Atlanta.
No, we're back.
We're
the
back.
Dirty South.
We're back.
Atlanta.
Hot Atlanta. It's hot right now. Hot right now. Michael has a fun question. Who is the craziest out of the leaders we have encountered thus far? I think Gareth is the craziest, followed by the governor, and then Officer Lerner. Do you agree with those power rankings?
I think the claimed guy is probably ahead of... I think that Officer Dawn is the least crazy out of all those people.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think she's probably... Because, yes, she is consciously looking the other way and being involved in sex trafficking, but I think that compared to some of the murderous things we've seen, I think that sex trafficking by comparison doesn't seem as bad.
And then I think probably Joe is just ahead of her. I think it's really a battle between the governor and Gareth for the top spot.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Gareth is eating people. That's not normal. But at least it's not wasteful. The governor was chopping heads off and just looking at them.
Yes, that was wasteful.
I think the governor is the craziest.
Well, was that art? Because art is what separates us from the animals.
I guess that's true. It was kind of an art form. That's the new TV in the zombie apocalypse.
Okay, Faraz wants to say, who was worse, Gorman or Martin?
You mean Cop Douche or Cabin Douche, Faraz?
Yes.
Let's refer to them by their actual names. Who is worse? I think Cop Douche, pretty decisively.
Cop Douche is probably worse.
Although Cabin Douche did, threaten to strangle a baby. That was pretty bad as well.
Yeah, Cop Douche might have just been horny.
I don't know. Dangerous territory, Rob.
I don't know. Because Cop Douche, did he actually try to murder anybody?
Who knows?
Whereas Cabin Douche actually threatened to murder a baby.
That's true. That was self-preservation, though. That's survival.
Yeah, like Cop Douche, you could make a case he was just lonely.
Is Cop Douche misunderstood?
He could be misunderstood.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Both bad guys. Nikki Roy says, my theory, Carol and Daryl found Beth's friend. Carol's perfectly fine, about to kick some serious tail with Daryl close behind. You buying that?
Am I buying that? Yeah, I'm buying that. I think that Carol I think that Carol could like snap out of this in 5 seconds and just like ninja her way through this entire hospital. I really do. I'm really high on the Carol thing right now.
Okay, 4 episodes left in this season, Josh. At what point do we see Carol and Beth again?
Oh man. Well, I don't think it'll be next week. I would imagine probably the week after. We got to get back in with what's going on with Rick. So maybe not next week, not the week after, but the week after that.
So episode 7 of this.
Episode 7, I'm thinking is that seems like a long ways away. I hope it's sooner than that.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time seeing it, but I hope it's sooner than that.
I think what you could see maybe, okay, so episode 5 is all Abraham and those guys, and maybe episode 6 starts with the Carol thing. They rescue Beth, and then they get back to Rick by the end of episode 6.
Okay, that'd be fine. I'd be good with that.
Yeah. Okay, and then DJ MCC93. I thought Beth was the original douche to Cop Douche. She really brushed him off when he was talking to her. What do you think of that, Josh? Was Beth rude to Cop Douche first?
I think that Beth. No, I don't think so. I think that Beth.
Did she give him a chance?
I think that Beth got the douche chills.
Yeah, she knew. Beth has good douche star. She knew that Cop Douche was.
I think she was reading the douche thing.
Yeah, we're not gonna try to. We're not gonna try to humanize Cop Douche.
I agree.
That's why his name is Cop Douche. You want to do one last question?
Sure. Steve Kerrigan asks me, maybe not enough material to do weekly, but I would definitely listen to a Walking Dead book club on post-show recaps if you ever did one. I've heard some requests for that. That might be something we can do. Probably not every week, but maybe as a one-off here and there.
Yeah, might be a good one-off. Okay.
Might be a good one-off.
All right. So, Josh, here's where we stand. Carol is at the hospital.
Yes.
Beth is at the hospital. We have to see what's going to happen. Next week, we think we're going to hear about Abraham and all those guys and see what's going on with there, which I'm excited for. I have said all along I am Team Abraham.
Oh, yeah. Abraham's a badass.
Looking forward to seeing what they're up to.
You just want to see more Rosita.
I like her. I like Eugene. I
thought
Abraham.
You said no one likes Eugene.
Nobody really likes Eugene, but I like Eugene as a character.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens next week on The Walking Dead. Of course, we'll be back live at 10:15 p.m. Eastern on next Sunday night, November 9th. Looking forward to talking about that with you guys as well. And if you want to make sure you don't miss this, check out our iTunes feed at postshowrecaps.com/TWD iTunes, and we really appreciate your feedback and star ratings if you want to give us any.
That'd be great.
Josh,
Lollipops appreciated as well.
Lollipops appreciated as well. Josh, we're also getting down to the nitty-gritty here in our Sons of Anarchy recapping.
Yeah, how many episodes are left on that one? Maybe are there only 4 or 5 episodes left on Sons of Anarchy?
I think this is going to be episode 9, so I believe there's 5 shows left.
Wow, yeah, we're definitely looking at the end of the road on Sam.
Final ride.
Final ride, baby. Yeah, it's been pretty interesting over there as well.
Yes, absolutely. So we will be talking about that this upcoming Wednesday on our Sons of Anarchy podcast. If you missed any of those episodes, you can check that out also on postshowrecaps.com. Josh, you got anything else coming up this week?
No, usually we do a Lost Lives podcast. We're going to have to miss this week. So it's just going to be Sons of Anarchy on Wednesday. And then we did do a Game of Thrones book club podcast last week if you've been a fan of those shows, but you missed this last one. That was very good. And we have a date for our next Game of Thrones book club as well. That's going to be November 12th, I believe. And we're going to be going into detail on The World of Ice and Fire, which is the new book that just came out. So definitely check that stuff out. That's postshowrecaps.com/GOT iTunes, I believe, Rob?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have a hashtag about this episode?
Think you got to go Cop Douche.
Cop Douche. Okay, let us know what you think about this episode. We'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next Sunday night for Walking Dead Live. Take care, everybody.